Welcome back to J.P. Sports Talks, episode number 11.
Yeah,
Today,
almost.
we are joined by Owen Tomko. Owen, how you doing?
Living the dream, honestly.
Okay.
So today we're going over college football. Again, coming around the corner, depending on when this goes up, it's either going to be Saturday or maybe today.
Probably
Friday.
will come out Saturday morning before all the games, so.
Yeah. Like, sub, all that stuff. Comments should be on. Maybe we'll see. You never know.
At this point, we just don't know.
j.p.sportstalk, Instagram, link down in the description. Let's get started.
Yes, sir.
First thing I want to start with is probably college game day. It's going to Bedlam. It's going to Norman, Oklahoma. Oklahoma State versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma State has 11 wins in this series all time, and Oklahoma has upwards of 80. So a very one-sided rivalry, although it's the most fun rivalry to watch every year. Let's hear your take on this one, Owen.
Owen, you started off.
I don't really watch many of those teams, but from my previous experience watching these guys, the Big 12, I hate to say it, but you guys have no defense. You guys don't play any defense. I'm gonna look real quick. The spread is 7 with Oklahoma favored. I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma State pulls off the upset and covers.
Well,
I think their rushing attack's too good. They can't throw the ball. Their quarterback's only thrown for 767 yards this year, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks. Not really necessarily the greatest start to a season, But I think if they could get the ground game going and make a couple stops on Oklahoma's offense, I think they can stop the big plays, of course, but I think they can pull off the upset.
All right, Jack, what's your hot take? Or maybe not hot take, but what's your take on OK State?
Well, Oklahoma State's got the better record. They're ranked higher in the rankings, but I don't know if there's really a big favorite in this game. It's going to be a pretty close game, I think. I don't think Oklahoma State, I don't think anything's going to change with their passing game, especially not against a good team like Oklahoma, even though, I don't know, I don't think their defense is that great. But Oklahoma State, I would probably take just because I feel like they're maybe the better team, for me at least. But, I mean, honestly, you could go either way. For me, it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a fun game.
I would also like to say the over-under on the game is 59.5. If any of you, for some reason, are older and you bet on games, take the over on that game. I'm guessing they're going to put up 100 points. They're probably going to put up 50 each.
Oh, yeah.
So I would bet hard on the over, even though I'm not a betting man myself because I am only 16.
So Oklahoma State, I believe they're what number are they? They were 12 last.
14. They're 14.
They're 14.
Yeah, they're 14. Oklahoma is number 18. In my personal rankings, I had OK State at 12 and OU at 19. This one is in Norman, a night game. It's at Oklahoma. There are some things that just never change, and I think these are one of those games that Oklahoma's going to win just because Oklahoma State, even they just have not won this rivalry in a long time. I mean, they've won it recently kind of, but obviously their wins are far apart and spread out. So I'm going Oklahoma. Obviously, like you said, I'm going to take the over. Maybe double the over. But that's that game. So next game
hold on. Can I real quick? I also think it's supposed to rain in Norman tomorrow night. So with that being said, I think Oklahoma State clearly has the advantage at that point because I think Oklahoma relies so much on the big play. I mean, they scored 62 last week against Kansas, 62 the week before against Texas Tech. And Oklahoma State doesn't win games by much. I mean, they won last week by 2. They lost to Texas by 6 or 7 in overtime. I think it's going to be a ground and pound game. I think Oklahoma State controls the clock, and I think Oklahoma State comes out with the win.
Yeah, for me personally, in my rankings, I had Oklahoma State at 12 and Oklahoma at 20, so a little bit different from what you have and what from what AP had. So
Yeah, now that you said it's going to be raining in Norman, that's interesting because Chuba Hubbard might run away with this one. If you've watched my videos, you know I'm not that high on Chuba. He's good for back, but he needs a good offensive line to go with it. He's not going to, make his own space. But if it's raining, I'm going to take Oklahoma State. So good pointing that one out there. All right, moving on. I believe this week Georgia is playing Mississippi State. I'm going to start this one off by saying Mike Leach at Mississippi State. Owen, you have that Wazoo hat on. You know that Mike Leach, what he can do. Obviously,
he's an offensive guru.
Yeah, he doesn't exactly have his staff or his recruiting that he wants. His team's not great. They beat LSU, who's not great either. I would not be surprised if this is an upset. Georgia just really haven't had any offense this year.
Mm-mm.
Their defense is good or is horrible against good teams and good against bad teams. But I wouldn't be surprised if Mississippi State pulls out the dub here and Cowbell wins. Jack, if you have anything to say about this game, kind of a lower game that most people would look over. So if you have anything to say, go ahead.
Well, in the process of this, I was thinking about Jake Fromm. And I realized that he's about to get cut from the Bills, so that's kind of funny. But I didn't even know he was in the NFL. I thought he might have even been injured this year because I haven't heard about him in either league. But because I didn't know he declared or anything like that. So, but yeah, Georgia has just not been playing great football. Their offense, you're right, they haven't been the offense they've been in past years. Obviously without Jake Fromm, who had every quarterback record at Georgia. So, along with DeAndre Swift, those two were just a great quarterback running back duo. So they can't really move the ball as much, not nearly as well as they used to. In Mississippi State, they're 2-4. And I don't know. I guess it's really could be an upset. I don't know how exciting of a game it's going to be. But at the same time, there's a possibility for it to be a really exciting game because Mississippi is a team that can pull off an upset on Georgia. So I don't really know what to expect, but I would still take Georgia for sure.
All right, passing down to Owen. If you have any remarks on this game, go.
So my big takeaway from this game is quarterback play. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, I will say other things, but Georgia has not had that guy. Georgia, since Fromm left, he has not had that guy. Stenson Bennett, 1,600 yards or 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, 6 picks, hasn't been phenomenal. The kid behind him, that Mims, or I think it's Mims or whatever, who played last week, not very good at all. I think the best quarterback on that roster is JT Daniels. I think I don't know what's going on with him, whether he re-aggravated his knee or something like that. He's hurt again. But I think if Mississippi State can pick and force mistakes on this kind of young Georgia offense, I think KJ Costello, if he has the game he had against LSU, I think 25.5 is they're underdogs by 25.5. I would say that is way, way too high. I think it needs to be I understand why they did it, but 25 really. This offense, they average 303 yards passing a game, only average 21.5 rushing. So, you know what they're doing. It's not a surprise. But I think you look out. I think it's definitely a game that can be an upset alert. Considering if KJ Costello has one of those games again and they force a couple turnovers, I think they can maybe squeak out an upset. And it is in Georgia. It's going to be 72 and sunny.
Yeah.
Good.
So,
Good throwing weather.
And JT
It
Daniels
is good throwing
announced
weather.
today
So, I mean, KJ Costello, he's a California kid, so he's got to be used to that weather, so he's got to take advantage.
Yes, JT Daniels announced today as the starter for Georgia against Mississippi State. So, that's something.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting take there, or not take, but definitely an interesting storyline there. Moving on, this isn't really a game, but it came out a couple days ago, I believe, that the Pac-12 will allow out-of-conference games. Out-of-conference games. The Pac-12. Yeah, so maybe we can see like BYU, even though they're not in the Pac-12. We can see BYU like play Utah or someone actually good. So they don't just roll through their schedule.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have something when we're done with this game. Found it on ESPN here.
Go ahead.
So we have a report from Paul Saban, and he shared like the All-State playoff predictor, and I'll kind of let you know what's happened, see what you guys think. So right now, Alabama has an 87% chance. I don't think anyone's surprised by that. I think most everyone can agree that Alabama is the best team in the country. And then Ohio State and Clemson are both 75, Wisconsin 47, Georgia 24, and Notre Dame 22% chance to make the playoffs, which it might be a little biased for me, but I think that's
what you want, or what like what.com.
This is 23 days ago, but still.
Oh, that's before the Clemson.
I think they did come out with a more updated version of that.
Okay.
But I want to have a take on this one.
Even before that, like Wisconsin, I don't even know if they were playing at this point.
Okay.
Georgia wasn't playing better than
That's such a
them.
sore topic, dude. My completely unbiased opinion. I'm a Notre Dame fan. You get that. I'm also a Washington State fan. I get that. Any team that does not play 12 games should not be allowed in the playoff. I'm just going to say it because think of it this way. You know how many times in the last decade Notre Dame has been criticized for not having that 13th data point, that 13th game in that conference
championship game.
Ohio State's going to play 8 games this year, right?
And their schedule has
let's just say all the games happen, right? They play nobody good. I mean, I can't say. I mean, you play who? You play
Indiana
this week. You have Illinois. You have Michigan and Michigan State as your next 3 games.
After time.
I mean, so their schedule now, they played Nebraska, kicked the crap out of them. They played Penn State. Penn State played them hard. I mean, they lost by 13. Penn State's god-awful this year. They played Rutgers. They played Indiana. Then they played Illinois, Michigan State, Michigan. Can you where a good game in that schedule is? I mean, Indiana, right? We don't even know if Indiana's legit yet. I mean, I bet we'll get to that game later, so I won't say anything on that game yet. But I think the same with BYU. They're playing are they playing an 8-game schedule too, or are they playing 12 games?
I believe
they're playing 12. They're 8-0 now. So
Notre Dame, BYU, and Liberty are the only 3 teams that are 8-0 right now.
Okay, so I also want to say the same with Wisconsin. Like Wisconsin, come on now. I mean, there's no way they've had like 4 or 5 games canceled. There's no way they can. Because, I mean, their quarterback is good. Okay, let's say that on the very limited time we've seen him play. He's pretty decent, right? Let's see. They played Illinois week 1, right? Beat them by whatever. Beat them by like 35. Nebraska next week canceled. Purdue canceled. They beat Michigan by a lot as well. Michigan's not good at all this year.
No.
They play number 19 Northwestern, which is a pretty good game. I mean, they're ranked. Minnesota, always a trap game. Indiana and Iowa. They don't play Ohio State. They play Indiana. They don't play anybody else good. They play Northwestern. I think even if they went undefeated and managed somehow miraculously to win the Big Ten championship, I mean, you can't even consider them. They play 8 games, 9 games, and 2 of them have been canceled. They'll probably play 6 games, 6 or 7 games. I mean, that's my take on it. So,
Fair take. If they blow everyone out of the water, then maybe it's considered. But I think right now it'd be like Bama, Notre Dame definitely. Clemson if they win out. And then the fourth person is like who? Like the Big 12 is out of contention indefinitely because they've lost – all of them has lost 2 games.
I don't think you can take a undefeated 8-win team over a 1-loss 11-win team. You can't do that.
Not, but a 2-loss team like Oregon, okay, Pac-12 should definitely not be allowed because they're going to play like 6 games.
Yep.
But and Oregon, like my quick take on Oregon is they are definitely not as good as they were last year against Stanford and Washington State. They were down up until like the third quarter. So I don't think they should be allowed into the playoffs either. Maybe a New Year's Six Bowl, but as we get back to the games.
Well, I do have the All-State playoff predictor from Sunday, November 15th, so last Sunday from when we're recording this. Would you guys like me to share that?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
would like to hear that, yes.
Well, before we get into that, we're going to take a quick break then. All right, we're back. We don't have much time left, but we're going to kind of hurry it up. So we're going to jump right into the Indiana game this week.
Indiana, Ohio State. So this game's at 11 o'clock, a great 11 o'clock game on Fox, I believe. Yeah, it's on Fox Network. This one is, in my opinion, I'm just going to make this short and sweet. Ohio State is going to blow out Indiana. Jack, you go.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about this. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like you say, but I do think Ohio State's going to convincingly win. That's all for me, honestly.
They're giving them 20.5. I think they're giving Ohio State 20.5. No way. Herrick's Jr., I think, is played exceptionally well this year. They're 4-0. I can't remember the last time Indiana was 4-0. But they got a good balanced attack. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. I mean, they're averaging 362 yards a game to Ohio State's 511. But like I said, I mean, you look at Ohio State's schedule. I mean, they ain't playing anybody. I think it's 20.5 over under 66.5. I think it's over 66.5. I think Indiana does cover. I think Ohio State wins by 3.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
I think Indiana keeps it close, and then Ohio State breaks away a little bit. Then Indiana comes back and makes it close again.
All right, we move on to our next Big Ten game. This one we've already touched on just a tiny bit. Wisconsin Northwestern. This one is in Chicago at Northwestern. Northwestern, when Wisconsin travels to Chicago or Evansville to play Northwestern, Northwestern in the last 5 meetings is 4-1. Number 10, Wisconsin comes to Northwestern. Your take, Jack?
I think Wisconsin's gonna win. I mean, this week I feel like for everything I've said, it's been I believe the higher seed is winning, but I mean, if they're the higher seed, so they're supposed to win. I mean, but yeah, Northwestern, they're both undefeated. They're both undefeated in the Big Ten because they've only played Big Ten games, obviously. But yeah, I have Wisconsin. Even though it's in Northwestern, I feel like Wisconsin's the better team, despite all their postponed, canceled games. But I think Wisconsin's got the win.
All right, Owen.
God, I'm upset city today. Northwestern. I think Northwestern pulls it off at home. I think they force turnovers against this young. I think he's a freshman quarterback for Wisconsin. I think he forced a few turnovers, pretty much the same as who was it? I can't remember the other game, but they forced turnovers. I think they get up early, and I think they stay ahead. I think they run the ball well, or not. I haven't seen them play, but I feel like they'll run the ball well and hit the big plays when they need it. So I think it's 7.5, 44.5. I think over. I actually think it's going to be under. I think it's a low-scoring game, but I have Northwestern by 7.
All right. In this one, my little take on this is I'm saying Wisconsin. However, whoever wins this game will play in the Big Ten championship against probably Ohio State. This is almost the Big Ten playoffs. Whoever wins this game will play the winner of the Ohio State-Indiana game, in my opinion, because whoever wins from each side, that's the hardest player. That's the hardest person on the schedule. They're just going to run the table. Next game we move on to, this might surprise some people that we're talking about it at all, but we're going to 8-0 Liberty against NC State. They're 5-3. This one's at NC State. It's a night game. This is actually going to be a good game, in my opinion. Liberty already beat Virginia Tech. Now a good NC State team will bring Liberty on at home. Owen, you start off on this one.
Once again, like I say about a lot of teams, I don't really watch these guys play, but I did get to catch a little bit. I got to catch the end of the Virginia Tech Liberty game. Crazy game, by the way. I just want to say that. They actually have NC State favored in this game by 4.5, over under 65.5. I don't think it's 65.5. I'm taking the under here. It's going to be 71 and sunny in Raleigh, North Carolina today, or that day. I think Liberty, I don't know. I think Liberty continues. I think they're on a hot streak. I think they add on that I think they progressed from that 58-14 win against Western Carolina, I think it was. But not to mention, NC State has played very good football. I mean, they played some really good teams close. North Carolina they lost by like 27, which wasn't that close, but they put up 21 points. Mm-hmm. Miami, they lost by 6, and they beat FSU by 16. I think, once again, even though they're favored in this game, I think I have NC State. I think they throw for a billion yards, and I don't think Liberty's defense can hold.
All right, Jack, we'll move on to you.
I don't have much to say. I think you both are right. I think it's going to be a good game, but Liberty, they know, and I still think that they're gonna stay undefeated. I think they're gonna be 9-0 after this week. So,
all right,
yeah.
I have two games that I want to try and go over just briefly.
All right, really quickly.
Yes, Auburn, Tennessee at 4:00 at Auburn. I think, even though Auburn has played decent football, I mean, they haven't played phenomenally well, but Tennessee, I mean, once again, don't watch them. They're 2-4. But I think Auburn's they blew out LSU last week, and Tennessee lost to Arkansas. Arkansas is not a bad team this year by any means of the imagination. I think Tennessee keeps it close, even though I don't think they win. Actually, I think – yeah, even though I don't think I have them win, I think it's definitely one of those games to watch and put that on your radar. Yep. And the other game, I think, is USC-Utah, 7:30 at Utah, Pac-12 after dark. Actually, no, the Hawaii game's Pac-12 Pac-12 after dark.
So, 9:30 our time. He lives in California, just for the people.
Yeah, so if you hear the time differences, if they're saying a time, it's Central time zone because they're in Chicago, and I am a Pacific time zone guy, so I am I am 3 hours behind. Utah has not played a game yet. I think USC goes to Utah. We don't know anything about this Utah team. We don't know. I think they lost some big key pieces on this team. I don't know. The over-under is 58. I will take an over on that game. SC is only favored by 3. I think, even though I am a Notre Dame guy, my unbiased opinion, SC does pull off a win. I think they beat them handily. I think they win by 24 at Utah. 47-degree weather. I think they win by, what did I say, 17 or 24?
24.
I think they win by 24.
So my really quick take on this with just about 2 minutes left. SC has 2 wins. They're number 20 in the nation, but they have 2 wins. Both of them are comeback wins in the final minute. One against Arizona State, one against Arizona. They travel to Utah, and in Utah, I don't think they'll continue to be undefeated. They are going to lose to Utah. The Pac-12 is really messed up right now. Colorado's undefeated. Just teams that you'd never think, like Arkansas's undefeated. Tennessee's played better than they.
Than their team for record.
But Tennessee's been playing better than they were last year. But I'm taking Utah in this one at home against Southern Cal. Jack, finish us off with just a minute left.
I don't know if I have anything to say on this game, so I'm probably going to wrap it up right there.
I do believe, though, hold on, one more thing. I do believe they keep it close for like the first 3 quarters, but I think late in the fourth quarter, SC is going to be pissed off about these last second kind of wins. I think they do pull off and take them down late in that game.
Hot take. Slovis is overrated. All right.
Okay.
Agreed.
That wraps it up, guys. Enjoy. Comment on social media. DM us. Text us. All that. So if you need a way to reach us, there's plenty of ways if comments aren't on. And we look at all of it. So, and everything you've said, we've seen. Follow our Instagram, j.p.sportstalk. And Owen, thanks so much for coming on the show. It was awesome.
Thank you, Owen.
I appreciate you guys having me and all my super hot takes. I am the upset king this week.
Yeah, you
I
are.
think trap games for a lot of these big name teams.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Quick fact, just to end the 10 seconds left, I guess. Number 1 through number 5, only one team played last week. Number 1 through number 5, only one team sits this week. That's Notre Dame. But I'm out. Peace.